how to give you this, Sheila, to place under the table. Because there's a question about, I think they're going to put a question on saying, is there anything else I can do as a parent?
Oh, right.
And then we're going to say, well, here are these posters.
Give them to your nursery or childminder.
Right, okay.
We can't have those logos on apparently, so at the moment it's just got the RoSPA logo on it. Can't have the Netmums logo as well, which is a bit of a...
Why?
Who said that?
Technically, apparently, it can't have two
You
logos.
can only have...
Can we add it to the beginning slate?
Maybe. I need to put the...
Basically, if we have it in the top right corner, it will only be Netmums.
in the back there, all right?
We've got the RoSPA obviously, but can we have Netmums from at least the beginning to the end?
Wide or close? I'll use wide and close. I'll let you know.
This beginning slate here
Yeah.
is what we have to run with. We can't make another slate now.
Right, okay.
So,
You should have sat on these, Becky.
They're in my bag, so they were all rolled.
Yeah, not that one if possible.
Well, look,
One of
it's
the
running
kids'
on.
Hello, I'm Kadisha and I'm joined today by Annie from Netmums and Sheila from RoSPA.
Hello.
And we're here today because it's Family Safety Week and we wanted to share with you some of our top tips and advice to keep your little ones safe at home. Now we will be taking your questions, so please do send them in to us and we'll share those. Any of your tips and advice that you've got, please share with us as well. As you can see, we've got lots of items here on the table that we'll be running through. A lot of them you will probably recognise yourself as they are common items around the home. That's including this lovely cup of tea here.
Very hot
if you
cup
can
of
see.
tea.
Very, very hot at the moment. It's actually steaming hot at the minute. We will come back to that later as well. But first of all, Sheila, I wanted to ask you, as a public health advisor, what would be your top tips to parents with under fives in the home?
Well, one of the most top tips, and it's very, very easy to do, is if you're looking to see what dangers you've got in your home, get down to a child's eye view. Get down on the floor, get down and have a look round at everything that's there. See what you can see. The things that we've got on the table, these are just at toddler height. You may not realise that they can reach them quite so quickly. You may not see that the cable hanging over the kitchen worktop is of interest to a toddler because all they can see is the cable. They're inquisitive. They'll want to know, what it is. Pull on it. They could have a hot a hot kettle on them. The handle of the knife, again, they don't know that it's got a sharp knife on them. Pull it over, pull it down. then it could result in a nasty accident.
And Annie, as a mum yourself,
I
I'm
know.
sure you'll agree
With
with
a
that.
5-year-old and a 3-year-old have
Oh,
had their
God.
fair share of crazy accidents. And it happens in an instant. That's the
Yeah,
thing. You
that's the
just
problem.
can't tell when something's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think the thing to remember is that kids see everything as a toy. To them, nothing's off limits.
Yeah.
So it is all about you being the one who sees where the dangers are lying, isn't it,
Exactly.
Sheila?
It is, definitely. It definitely.
Brilliant. So, as I mentioned, we've got lots of things here. Sheila, if you want to run through them, I think, is that a remote control over there at the end?
We've got a remote control here, and the reason why we're highlighting this, and it's something that's in everybody's home, very simple little gadget. We have remote controls with everything nowadays, I mean, I understand this one is with the photo. It goes with the photo frame, so it's not just a television, video, whatever. But remote controls actually do have button cell batteries in them, and they're very easy to get at.
Yeah, that was really
We can
easy,
just
wasn't it?
pull this
Scarily
out
easy.
Yeah.
without any problem at all, and a little one getting hold of that, basically, and they swallow it, that could cause untold damage, and it could cause lifelong injuries. So if we look at a bit further at button batteries, they come in all sorts of sizes, very tiny ones.
That's
Look,
really,
like
really
it's smaller
small.
than your fingernail.
yeah, very
So
tiny.
So if that fell on
scary.
the floor, then that's quite hard to detect on the floor, I guess.
Got to
And-
be very careful if you're changing batteries in things, not to drop them on the floor, not to leave them around. Some of the incidents that we've been aware of, it's actually where the little one has got hold of a battery that's been left around after they've changed the battery, or it's a new battery in a drawer waiting to be put into something. So store them out of reach. Make sure they're out of reach. They can be very dangerous. Now, why are they dangerous? We would ask ourselves.
Yes. And why do we have a pork sausage on the table?
Well,
Sheila, please enlighten us.
Please do, Sheila.
This is
so
not
embarrassing.
actually for the children
it
to
doesn't
reach.
look very pretty, I have to say.
No, this is not to reach. If we look at this, you can see that there's a battery embedded in there, and basically that has started to burn the sausage away.
It
Oh,
really
wow.
has. It looks like burnt meat. That's
Yeah,
exactly
it
what it
does.
Yeah, and it's not the battery leaking. Basically, what it is that these batteries will react with the body fluids, and they then start to burn at the skin. So this is a sausage, but this is what would happen
In a
if-
child's stomach.
in a child's stomach,
That's quite
in their
scary,
throat,
isn't it?
in their stomach, in their intestines. So it would cause very
A lot of
serious damage.
Yeah.
So the advice is, isn't it, that if a child swallows a button battery, they need immediate medical attention. That means
Immediate.
A&E. We're not talking about sit around making a doctor's appointment. You've got to go straight away.
Straight
don't you?
away. Take them straight away. If you know that they've swallowed a button battery, take them straight away for attention and inform them straight away. The terrible thing is that we don't always know that that's what the child has done.
Yeah.
Now, we at RoSPA always say supervision is one of the most important things with regard to child safety and reducing the risk. But you can't watch children 24 hours a day.
No.
You may not be aware that your child has actually swallowed a button battery.
So instead it's about knowing what's in your house that might have a
Have
button
it.
battery in
It
it,
is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Was it you who told me that someone found a child's T-shirt recently in their house, and it had like a light up thing on it, and when they looked, it was actually like being lit up by 3 tiny button batteries.
Was.
So they're in things you don't even think about, like
yeah.
kids trainers that
The
light up when
light
they
up,
run.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, and I'm
definitely.
sure a lot of people have
Yeah.
got those as
My
well.
daughter's
So.
got
Yeah.
Oh.
The mum contacted us to say that she wasn't aware the T-shirt did light up,
Yeah.
but she wasn't actually aware that it had 3 little button batteries. Now I would imagine those batteries were probably these
That
tiny
size,
ones.
yeah, which is quite scary.
And she turned it inside out to wash it and then
Found it.
But not only did she find them, they were so easy to get to. They weren't stitched in,
So they could have
Okay.
easily
so they were
have
just in a
taken
little
them out.
pocket that you could get them out quite
Okay.
easily.
So just question everything. Put anything with a button battery in it way
Way,
out of your
yeah,
child's
out of the
reach.
child's
way,
reach.
yeah,
Brilliant.
way out of reach.
So, what?
I mean, there are other things. Children like to help mum watch, copy, and experiment with mum.
So what is that? Are
These
they
kitchen
scales?
scales.
Yeah.
Kitchen scales. Now, we teach our children to cook as well, but that's our older children. But you've still got little children around. You're able to access the battery in here very, very easily.
Yeah.
That was
little
quite easy.
fingers could easily do that, couldn't
Oh,
they?
yeah.
Yeah. Now, what we have to remember is that with regard to lots of things, these button batteries are easy to get to, but toys, as long as you're buying toys that comply to the British standards, you will find that the button batteries are actually under a locked cupboard. So that's why you need the tiny weeny little screwdriver to get into it. Because you're then not giving your child something where they can get the battery out easily.
Okay, some
You
sound
have to
advice
think
there,
about
Sheila.
those things that are not toys.
Yeah, a lot to think about there, definitely. So moving on, we have some other colourful and wonderful things here. That scrunched up bag, that looks a bit like a nappy sack, Sheila. Is that what that is?
This is a nappy sack. Yeah.
Known for their delightful smell.
Very delightful. You want to smell? Have you smelled
Oh,
one?
why not?
Have a smell. Yeah.
Oh God, it smells a bit like talc powder.
Yeah,
is it?
baby powder. Yeah, very, very strong.
Yeah.
We are aware that 17 children have died from either choking or suffocating on a nappy sack.
Yeah.
And they're young children, aren't they?
They are all under 1 years of age.
So what can parents do then, Sheila, to try and
Basically,
prevent those
parents
deaths?
need to make sure that they keep the nappy sacks well tucked away.
Yeah.
It's in a zip bag in the bag or in somewhere.
Because you
that-
take them out and about with you. It's
You
not
do?
just about having them locked away at home.
Yeah,
you
you
need
do.
them locked away when you're
You
out,
do.
don't you?
In your bags and.
I mean, the thing is, if we look at a nappy sack pack, it's like trying to get one tissue out of a new pack of tissues. It's actually difficult to get one nappy sack at a time. They come out in the handful, so it is so easy
And
to
it becomes
leave.
a game, this, pulling them out and
throwing
throwing
them.
them everywhere. Kids think that that's really fun.
Yeah.
It becomes a game, and they could be all over the house, and then that is, and basically, little ones want to again. They watch, copy, they want to help. They could end up putting a nappy sack in the vicinity of a baby. If if a baby gets one of these across their mouth, they're so thin, tactile, soft. If they breathe it in, it will stick to their mouth, and they haven't got the ability to actually get away from it. Okay, and not only that, we know that children learn by actually mouthing, by putting everything to their mouth. These are nice and tactile, so they also learn by scrunching things up. And if they scrunch it up and put it in their mouth, then they can choke on it.
Yeah.
So think about where you keep your nappy sacks, where you're storing them.
So again, it's store out of reach, isn't it,
Store
Sheila? That's
out
it.
of
Yeah.
reach, yeah.
Good point.
Definitely.
What else have we got?
Yes, well, I can see some sweets here that I'm tempted to try.
Me
but
too.
I'll try
But
not
the
to.
question is,
So,
which are the sweeties?
Well.
Because sweeties, washing tablet, they look pretty
They look,
similar.
if you're a child, they look very, very similar. I mean, I can see why a child
And
would
they're quite
definitely be
nice to
attracted
play
to that.
with.
Yeah, like a stress ball.
Yeah, I like a stress ball.
They are. The liquid laundry capsules are very, they're made
And
actually.
dishwasher.
Yeah, they're actually made to dissolve on moisture contact.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, again, we go back to putting everything in the mouth. The child puts in their mouth.
Yeah.
They actually start to moisten that outer
Okay,
coating,
yeah.
and they play with it, and then you're in danger of either squirting it down their throat
Or in their eye. We had a story
dear.
about that, I
Oh,
think,
did
last
you?
week. Yeah, really horrible accident.
And they, they're again like the nappy sacks. They're nice to touch. They're very tactile.
And they're
Yeah.
so
They feel
colourful.
nice,
I
They're so
like them.
colourful.
I mean, they're
And
the same colour as the
They
Haribos, more or less,
To a
aren't they?
1-year-old who wouldn't know.
Exactly,
No,
you wouldn't
they're
have
the
a
same.
clue.
So again, it's when you've actually taken your capsule, your liquid laundry capsule out of your packet,
Yeah.
put the lid back down. Now, we've done a lot of work with the United Kingdom cleaning products industry. And the industry have actually made sure that now the packets that these come in are opaque, so
Yeah.
children can't see them. And they have actually got child-resistant containers on them, and they've got warnings on them. But whoever's using them must remember to actually close the lid, because
Yeah.
if you don't close the lid, then they're still accessible to the little one.
Well,
Yeah.
and just keep them well out of reach as
Exactly.
well.
Well out of reach, yeah.
We've got some
in a
little
high
hand-
cupboard or a locked
Well, yes,
cupboard.
or we've got, because you can buy these things, can't you?
You can.
Which help lock the cupboards,
Yeah.
so that little fingers can't get in
Yeah.
there, which is quite
So-
helpful.
Very, very helpful.
Good, okay, so I learned a lot today, I have to say. I mean, I guess the main advice is to keep these little things out of reach, really, isn't it? So,
It is,
And
yeah.
they
That's the
are
main
little
thing.
things. That's the thing. You wouldn't
Yeah.
think that button could kill someone. You wouldn't think that a laundry tablet could kill
No.
someone, but they really can.
But
Well,
they can.
we're not aware of deaths relating to liquid laundry. I
Right.
think there was one, but but there were also other medical
Okay.
complications. With the laundry tablet, it's not actually a child can be blinded temporarily,
Yes.
or their throat can actually, be uncomfortable and suffer, burns, which
Yeah.
generally heal. But it is actually the stress that the child has to go through in order to have their eye washed out. That is most distressing, both for child and parent carer. So it's not necessary that it's kind of like a death, kind of like the end
Just
result.
serious injury,
It's
really.
serious
Injury is a
injury.
bad
It's
enough.
injury,
Yeah.
but it's actually what follows. With,
Okay.
with the visit to A&E, the washing out the eye, the stress concerned with that, because actually having to have their throat washed out and what have you. So it's very, very stressful for the child and the parent.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think we have a question come in, so I'll take that for you. So we've got, my daughter is keen on feeding herself. What do I need to watch out for?
Right.
Wow. Here's one with Rebecca.
This is a plate of tomatoes, grapes, and we would also consider other soft fruits in this.
Yeah.
But what a lot of parents don't realise is that a grape is actually, for a small child, can actually be a choking hazard. So we would recommend actually quartering grapes or any soft fruit. We do know children that have choked to death on a grape. We do know children that have choked to death on a blackberry. And also these nice little tomatoes. And they're
Plum tomatoes,
just
are
nice.
they?
Plum
Cherry-
tomato, cherry
cherry
tomatoes,
tomatoes,
whatever. Again, they are a little bit bigger than the grapes, but they do actually fit into what we call to put it in simple terms, the choking cylinder. If something fits in there, it's classed as a choking hazard. So, and a tomato fits in there. So we would also recommend cutting the tomato up into quarters. The other thing that I would recommend, and we come back time and time again, is supervision.
Yeah.
Okay, wants to feed themselves and you want to encourage it, but supervise them at all times. I don't know whether you've got anything to add to that, Annie.
I kind of worry a lot about choking, so I think you're right. I don't let my kids run around the house eating. There's a rule that they eat at the table, and I just always make sure there's someone sat with them when they're eating, because anything can happen just in an instant.
in an
can't
instant.
it?
Yeah,
Definitely.
anything. Yeah.
Okay, we have another question as well. Someone has said me and my partner disagree about whether we need to stay with the kids at bath time. What would your advice be?
Oh, right. Now that's a very easy one.
Yeah.
If your children are in the bath, you should never, particularly small children, toddlers, never leave them. Always be within reach.
So again, supervision is
Supervision
key.
is
Yes.
key.
And the thing here is, don't be lulled into a false sense of security by a bath seat or a
No.
bath support.
Yeah.
They're there to help you bathe them. They are not there instead of you.
No, they can give you the security that, because your hand's free, that you can actually just nip out, go and get something,
you
Answer the
talk to you,
phone,
answer your
yeah.
phone, answer the door. They're not there to allow you to do that.
I guess it only
So
takes a second, doesn't it, as
It
well?
does
for
only
child
take a
to-
second. They're not something that's needed. They're not a safety aid, and we wouldn't recommend that you put yourself in that kind of like what feels like a secure situation.
Yeah.
The advice is never ever leave little ones in the bath on their own.
Whatever it is can wait.
It can.
Yes, exactly.
It really can.
And we'll take another question. As a new parent, what are some of the key dangers I should be aware of?
Well, we are talking about some of the key dangers this afternoon and the things that we've got on the table.
Batteries, choking, liquid tabs.
Yeah, we know that the most serious injuries are due to scalds and burns. We're going to talk about scalds in a few minutes. Burns, hair straighteners. Think about those.
Because you might even have switched it off, but it's still
hot. Exactly.
And they think it's just a fun cord.
It's just fun to actually either plug them back in, or hair straighteners stay hot for a long time. So you need to unplug them and put them away. The best thing to do is to put them in a hair straightener bag, which is a heat-proof bag, and then put them away. So things like that can cause a serious burn. And we know that falls cause serious injuries, and again that comes down to supervision. For instance, not leaving your child on a surface, changing your child on a surface. The safest place to change your child's nappy is on the floor. We've got changing mats. The safest places to change them on the floor. So they're some of the key areas that we need to consider.
Okay, and I see next to you there's a child car seat with a...
Yes.
There is, and we get lots of questions about child car seats, but one of the main ones is, we've got a little one here, but one of the main ones is about fitting the harness.
Yes.
And the harness should be, sit comfortably to hold the child, where you can get 2 fingers underneath.
But
not your hand.
We don't
no
want
more.
them baggy.
We don't want them baggy.
The
We
rule
don't
is
want
they shouldn't slip off their shoulders, should they? You sometimes see photos of kids and like the straps around here.
So they shouldn't slip off their shoulders. They should be just enough to get your 2 fingers in and hold the child securely.
And is that the same if they're wearing like a winter coat, a padded coat as well?
We've got a lovely padded coat here.
We do.
And if we put Cynthia here in this lovely padded coat, we would have to actually loosen that seatbelt a little bit because it's different. Now, the danger is actually going from winter to summer and actually not tightening the seat up after you've been out there with with your padded, with your nice warm. So check the seat.
Check it every time.
Check it every time. So make sure that the seatbelt fits securely.
Because we at Netmums get lots of questions as well about these infant carrier car seats. Obviously, your child tends to fall asleep in the car. You then bring the car seat into the house. What's the rule? Can they stay sleeping in them or not?
We would advise no.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. And why is that, Sheila? Is it
basically because they're in a sitting position? They're asleep. Again, you're tempted to go off and do something, and they could actually, their chin could fall down, and they could actually suffocate and block their windpipe off and suffocate. Yeah. So it has happened before now. So we do not advise that you leave them in the car seat to sleep when you bring them into the house.
Okay, so make sure they're taking out the car seat.
Yeah.
And even in the car, if they fall asleep in their car seat, you're supposed to keep checking on them and not leave them to sleep for too long, are you?
No, just keep checking on them all together. It's a car seat to carry them in the car. It's not a cot.
No.
It's not something to sleep them.
A good way to put it. Yeah.
It is.
Definitely. Okay. Now I did mention earlier that we had this nice hot cup of tea. Now I'm just going to check. It's been about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It's still very hot.
It is.
Isn't it? So I'm a little child. This is, I'm at home. This is a coffee table at home. There's a hot cup of tea. What are the dangers with that, Sheila?
Well, one of the biggest causes of scalds to children is our traditional drink of tea.
Yeah.
So if we look at the figures, it's always cups of tea that have caused the most scalds. Most serious scalds are in the bath, so children in the bath.
Playing with the hot taps.
But no, well, basically what can happen, we'll come back to the cup of tea in a minute, but what can happen with the bath, we always give the advice, run the cold water in first.
Yeah.
If you're running the hot water in and you just get distracted, and even if you're just turning around to get the, you know, kind of bubbles or whatever, you get distracted. Basically, child's excited about having a bath, they run in, jump straight in the bath, and that can be very, very serious. If you put the hot in first. I mean, better still, you know, if you've got a thermostatically controlled valve, then your water will come out at a lower temperature, but you still have to think about putting the cold water in first and then adding the hot. It's still hot enough to cause the redness of the skin. It's basically, think about what you're doing when in the bath. Very simple, and it's something that every health visitor will tell you. Run the cold water first and then add the hot, because children will end up with very, very serious burns, very serious scalds, and it will be life-lasting.
Yeah.
They could be scarred for life.
Scary.
If we come back to the cup of tea, which, you know, is the biggest cause of scalds for children, that cup of tea is so well placed. If you think about what I said about getting down at the child's eye view, it's just in the right line for a toddler to reach out to.
Yes,
or
exactly.
even to reach for something else and their
and knock it
elbow
off.
knocks it. That happens a lot.
How long do you think that cup of tea stays hot enough to actually
I don't
scald
know.
the
I mean,
delicate child?
It's been
How is
10
it now?
minutes now or so, and it's
that's
still
pretty
hot.
Yeah, that's really hot.
It can stay hot enough up to 15 minutes, even perhaps a bit
Hot
longer.
enough to cause a burn.
Hot enough to cause a burn to a child. Little one's skin is so much thinner and more delicate than our skin. As we age, our skin much thicker
more
and,
tough.
and more tolerant. But you know, if you can imagine actually spilling a hot cup of tea on a little one, then it will cause quite serious burns. So, you know, it actually will, and it will smother the child. I mean, one of the tests that we can do. We've got a little one
Please
here.
do it. I'm going to move slightly further away while you do this one, Sheila.
One of the tests we can do with this little one here. She's got a baby grow on. Just want to show you how far a small amount of liquid can travel.
So if we imagine that's the hot cup of tea.
Yeah.
This is the hot cup of tea, and we are going to cause a little bit of a mess here.
Imagine
But
Go for
it's...
it, Sheila.
If we actually tip that down, even the small amount that I've tipped on there, I'm not going to tip
That's
any
a
more.
tiny amount.
You can see the tiny amount that I've taken out of
And
there.
how much it's actually spread
that
as well.
that will
It's actually
spread
quite distressing to see.
quite
Yeah.
seriously on the little one.
So why
and
pour it over the
cause-
head? Is that what a child would actually
That's
do?
Well,
what a
imagine
child
if they
would
were
do.
playing on the
Oh, that's
floor
true, isn't
and
it?
that just knocked. Even if you knocked it accidentally, it could go right over the...
Right over
God,
the
so
head.
it's spread, it's on the legs, it's all over the chest.
It's
Yeah.
come
a bit
right
on the
down her
arms.
back
Right
as
down
well.
the
Down the
back.
back.
Yeah. So, and it's round here. So it's gone round there.
Oh, God.
So, and if we think about it, you know, your little one can end up with quite serious,
I can't even look at that burn.
quite serious
Oh, God,
scald
that's...
injuries.
And that could be from that cup of tea that's been sat there for about
15
15
minutes. You wouldn't think.
You
Obviously-
wouldn't think at all.
Obviously, the shorter the time, the more serious the scald
burn,
would be,
yeah.
the burn would be. But it doesn't take a lot of liquid to cause a lot of damage
Well,
to a
no,
little
that was
one's,
just a
little
small-
one's skin.
Yeah, look,
A
you've
small
only like
splash.
gone down like a centimetre
Yeah.
in that egg cup size pot.
Yeah.
That's,
So if that was a
that's
full
nothing.
cup of tea or
Absolutely.
hot drink or hot water or anything, that could be.
It would be
10
serious.
times
The
worse.
And the other
consequences would
thing
be
is,
serious.
even if you're being careful, if you've got older children in the house who are like running around playing
Yeah.
football or just running, literally,
Yeah.
anything can happen,
Yeah.
right?
It can
So
definitely.
it does make you think, doesn't it? Really?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So this, you know, this kind of like the home can be, you know, it can have lots of dangers in there. But all you need to do is to be thinking about doing that
Exactly.
little look around.
Yeah.
We're
and-
not
and-
trying to put the
No.
fear into
No.
people.
No, what we're not trying to ask you to do is to wrap your children up in cotton wool.
No.
Children have to, they love to watch and copy. They have to actually experiment and investigate to
And
learn.
explore. They
and
love
explore.
exploring,
Yeah.
don't they?
It's part of life. We don't want them wrapped up in cotton wool. We want children to develop normally, but we also want them to get through life without devastating accidents.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's about actually finding that happy medium.
Yeah.
of allowing them to explore and develop, and just removing, you know, what hazards you can see, and the most serious hazards. And, you know, again, it comes back to supervision. Supervision is really, really important. So, I mean, we haven't got the prop here, but one of the things that I would really just like to raise and talk about is looped blind cords.
Yeah.
Now, you know, where we know that we've had 17 children die of suffocation from nappy sacks, we are aware of at least 30 children that have died as a result of strangulation from a looped blind cord. Now, the regulations were updated, the standards were updated, I should say, in 2014. So any blind that is bought now will have breakers in the cords and in the chains, or you can buy a blind that is what we call safe by design, which doesn't have any looped cords, which is the best thing to do. And if you can't afford to buy any new blinds anywhere else, buy one for your child's bedroom, because that's where the majority of those accidents happen.
Okay, so people think they're safe asleep in bed, but actually, as we know, little ones like to get up in the night or get up from their nap in the afternoon.
So
or they play in their bedrooms
Well,
as well
yeah,
sometimes.
exactly.
So.
You think they're safe asleep, they're waving daddy goodbye to work, or looking for daddy to come home from work, looking out the window, climbing. You've already said, you know, children love to climb,
Yeah, they do.
love to experiment, and it can happen so quickly and so easily. For those people that have got blinds in their home and they've got the loop cords, even if they've got the breaker on, we would still suggest, and they will come with your new blinds as well, we would still suggest that you actually fit a safety device. And these little cleats, they cost pennies, and you can screw it.
You wrap it round in like a
That's
nail
it.
so that nothing's dangling, right?
Screw it to the side of the wall and wrap your loop cord around it, and screw it as high as you can physically
so you
reach
can get
it.
that loop out.
So you actually moved that out
The
of
way.
the reach
And
of
you're
children.
saying even if the chain comes with the break in it, use these anyway.
I would be extra.
Belt and
Yes.
belt and
Belt
braces.
and braces.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, belt and braces.
That's
So,
a really good point.
Yeah, definitely.
So
And we have another question here. As a parent, what can I do to spread the word about child safety?
well, you can do lots, but I mean, for child safety, for Family Safety Week, we have actually produced quite a lot of resources. So you can actually go onto our website. You can there's lots of nice, colourful posters to download.
Yeah, these are
spread
good
them.
to. I downloaded some and gave them to my daughter's nursery for them to put up on the notice board for all the parents to see when they're coming in and out. You can give it to childminders, schools.
Yeah, schools are a good one.
Yeah.
Doctor surgeries.
You can
that kind
put
of
them
thing.
anywhere. There's top tips for bedtime, top tips for bath time,
Meal time we've got
top
there.
tips
which
for
we've
safer
spoken
play,
about.
top tips for meal times, and then we have top tips for car seats and top tips for or answers you can trust. So, but these are free to download. And as we say, distribute as you want to. You can also get other resources there. There's height charts, which have got a lot of safety information on that you can practitioners can apply for to help spread the word about child safety. And parents can also download lots of the activities that are on the website. So all you have to do is to go to www.RoSPA.com /Child Safety Week, and you'll be able to get these resources, download them. You'll be able to actually interact with the family, get the children to do the quizzes. There's word searches and different quizzes, a poster competition with a prize. So get the children to do those and make it a family activity and spread the word.
I think the important thing as well is for mums just to talk to each other.
Well, yeah.
If you
share
can
some
see a mum
advice.
feeding her child whole grapes, just say,
Say
oh,
something.
I've heard that they can be really dangerous. There's no point in keeping it to yourself,
Well,
is there?
No point at all. No,
Talk and share.
Share as much as you can.
It's not about being paranoid, it's just about keeping kids safe at home.
is.
That's all it is. is.
And just being aware of the things around your home that you're not,
Exactly.
you know, you wouldn't even think about that can be
Bottom
a potential
matches
danger.
weren't that widespread when we were kids, so we probably didn't grow up thinking of them as a danger.
No.
So it is about spreading the word about the newer things, especially.
It is about spreading the word, and we've had, you know, we've got families that have suffered their own tragedy in losing their child due to a nappy sack death or a blind cord death, and they've worked very, very closely with us, and they've taken our materials and they've actually spread them and given them out to other mums, and really want to work out there with us to make a difference, to stop
and
that
to
tragedy
make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else.
Yeah. So the materials are there, and it's about spreading the word, telling other people where they can find the materials, you know, telling other people where they can contact us, even telling other people about what we're doing here today, talking about the main areas, to actually go on Facebook and watch this
and share this
video.
Facebook video as well.
Okay.
So
that's brilliant. So we've learnt lots today, I think, but that's great. So thanks for joining us, guys. If you do have any questions about anything that we've spoken of today, then do call our helpline number, which will the number will be on the screen shortly. We can also go to our website, which is RoSPA.com/FSW, which stands for Family Safety Week, and that's it. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.